Mark Berry. There we go.
Sorry.
That's okay. Meeting's called to order. And we've got Mark Berry, the head of Parks and Rec. We've got Eric, course superintendent. We've got Todd, PGA professional. And then the members of just Portia, just to introduce you to everybody, because I think you're the one. We have Dan Stowe, Marie Shaw, and Brad King, who are members of the Golf Advisory Board, along with me. And then we have Gary Wells back representing the RTM, and then Portia at some point being kind of the liaison to the town council as well, which is excellent. So welcome. And that is everybody who's attending the meeting today. All right.
Margaret, I'll take minutes if you'd like.
Yeah, I'd appreciate that, Marie.
Sure.
It is really hard to do while you talk.
Brad King's here as well.
Yep. Welcome, Brad. All right. So the first item on the agenda is the review of the meeting minutes from the December meeting. I don't know if anybody has any.
Yeah, they went out as a separate email this afternoon.
And I just lost them.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay. Anyone second?
I second.
Any questions, clarifications, or amendments? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the meeting minutes from December 4th? Some aye.
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 Assuming Brad, that's an aye.
Aye.
An aye. All right. Any opposed? Meeting minutes approved as written. Thank you. Okay. Next item on the agenda, citizens petitions and comments. Have we received any communication from any neighbors or from anyone else?
Yes, we received an email from a neighbor. Eric, help me out which hole this is. This is about the fence.
By the 12th tee.
12th tee. Thank you. Yes. So there's a small gap, a break in the fence. Apparently players have been going through his fence to pick up balls in his yard, and he's asked that we close off that area so that people aren't wandering onto his property any longer. So I spoke with Eric about this last week, and he was going to put up some temporary fencing until we come up with a permanent solution. And
I put up a no trespassing sign on Friday.
Okay.
Okay. And that's that corner where in the corner there where the fence, there was that sort of gap that you could get through.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, Portia.
Thank you. It would seem pertinent that maybe also, and while the temporary fence is going up, and until it does take time to get a permanent fence, posting it where people purchase to play, that there is a concern with people cutting through. Might be nice to just have it up in the office as like a posted memo of a concern. I mean, a lot of times people don't know, and some people don't care if you come on their lawn to grab a ball, and we have to respect our neighbors, and I think just having, no trespassing signs, one thing, but I think if it's posted, people tend to take it a little bit more seriously, that it's a concern. So,
No, agree. But you have to make a concerted effort in that corner to actually go through that hole off the golf course and turn around back onto his property. So I find that actually, but I think it's a good idea, Portia. And we actually have, I think, Todd, you have signs anyway for if you break a window, it's your responsibility. So maybe just adding this, a reminder not to go onto other people's property.
Well, that would be Eric. Eric
Okay.
would be the person to do that.
They're talking about posting something in the golf shop when they check in.
Okay, perfect.
We can have something on the counter, that's fine.
Yep. Mark, anything else?
I did receive an email from the neighbors that live on hole 14. They had sent us a receipt requesting that the town pay for damages, and I replied back that we would not be paying for damages. The torrential rainfall that occurred was an act of nature. We're not responsible for the act of nature, and that the golf course, since they've moved there, has not changed any of the landscape that would have caused damage to their property. And I did say that we were looking into a solution to prevent further damage. And since I sent that email, I have not heard back. That was a couple of weeks ago.
Okay. Hopefully that helps them understand. It's a tough position to be in, but thank you for doing that. Any other citizens petitions, Eric or Todd?
I have none.
Okay.
I don't have any either.
All right. Next agenda item is new correspondence communications from members of the board.
I can report for the SWGA, the Women's League, if you'd like.
Okay. Yes.
Okay, so we've been actively getting our selves together for the 2024 season. Todd, thank you. I gave a calendar, I think mid-January, that had our proposed opening, closing dates, member guest, and ladies' days, and to get on your calendar. The SWGA Women's Board met January 18th. It was kind of a working meeting at Par 4. We set our membership rates for 2024. We are increasing them by $5, and that's really to offset that increase that we saw last year with the handicap. We wanted to not give everyone that jump all at once, so we took a little of the league budget and made it less of a jump last year, so it wouldn't be all at once. And this is the other half of that now coming from the members themselves. And we also looked at our games for Ladies' Day on Tuesdays and had a calendar approved for that. Our 2024 handbook is about ready for distribution. We just have a few things to add to it, but we found the handbook has really been helpful. This is second year now, and it really has helped us all be kind of literally on the same page with a lot of our procedures and so forth. And Mark, I'll be asking your webmaster or getting help from Park and Rec to get updated documents for 2024 on the women's site, on the Shennecossett Golf Course site, that link. It's been very helpful to have the membership form, the handbook, bylaws, calendars. So right now it's populated with 2023 information. We'll be hopefully in the next couple weeks asking to have those documents taken down and the 2024 new information put up.
Sure, no problem.
Okay, great. And then this week we have a meeting of our tournament committee. These are the members who set forth and manage the major tournaments. And lastly, we have several women golfers who are, we tend not to mind the cold, although yesterday at 28 degrees was a bit much, but did it. And we just want to thank, Eric and staff and Todd and Pro Shop for being open and maintaining the course as best you can when you can, and making those opportunities available to those who want to play. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Marie. Any questions? Okay. Dan?
Margaret? Oh,
Yes,
sorry.
Mark, no, go for it.
I've got a couple of updates since our last meeting. We did have a pre-construction meeting for the
Okay.
work at the at par 4, and I think in December I had said that it looked like the construction was going to start in February. I actually don't think it's going to start until March now.
Okay.
So it got pushed back a little bit. It just had to do with the contractor schedule and, trying to get supplies lined up so that they don't get halfway through a project and suddenly, the doors or whatever
Yep.
aren't coming in for 6 weeks. And
Okay.
so anyway, it looks like it will be a March start. And they're working with par 4 to try to minimize any disruptions to, their service. And also, if folks haven't been to par 4 recently, the Shennecossett logo that was on the floor has been refinished and is complete, and it looks terrific. So hopefully that will preserve that for quite a while. So if you haven't seen it, swing by and take a look, or the next time you're there, make it a point to check it out.
Okay.
Also, the par 4 has contracted somebody, the contractor, to refinish the floors of the main dining room, sanding and refinishing.
Yeah, they started last night.
And they started last night, correct, and they're going to be done in 3 days. So,
yep.
And what they've done from last night to today when I left, very, very nice.
I actually have one more thing. The bottle filling station went in, I think about 2
good.
weeks ago now. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I've walked through there. I didn't even notice it. So I'll pay attention now the next time I come through there. Sorry, Portia, and then I do have a question, but I'll let Portia go first and then.
Sure, thank you. I just wanted to comment on the Women's League. I just want to say that I think it's awesome that we have that we're being inclusive. It's so important to have such an inclusive league because the golf course is such an asset to our community. So I just wanted to thank all the people involved with that. And I will look at your guys' schedule, but I'm sure maybe you have, but Women's Appreciation Month is coming up in March.
June. It's actually June.
June. Yep. And the also, Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So it's great to kind of, think of things that, impact women. And I just want to thank you guys for all the work that you do. It's such an awesome league, and it's just an asset to have is all. Thank you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And a lot of credit goes to Marie. She's done a phenomenal job over the last year and a half. The membership is up over 50. We do celebrate Women's Golf Month in June. Todd is very helpful and supportive with that effort. And then the women's group, and maybe Marie, think a little bit broader, we do a charity week, we call it in the league, in the summer, usually in August. It's a pink out, so a number of the events are centered around Yes, it's not Breast Cancer Awareness Month directly, but celebrating it at other times of the year is always very nice as well, just as a reminder. So they've done a phenomenal job with making sure that the outreach is there.
I thank you for that. Another just consideration would be, it might be Women's Golf Month in June, but I believe March is Women's Appreciation Month. And it might be something that won't happen now, but it might be nice that there's some type of appreciation for women in March as well, not just in June, maybe, I don't know, you get an extra something or some type of maybe discount. I don't know. I'm not sure what it could be, but it would be, you could have a nice event for Women's Appreciation Month as well. Thank you.
We might be able to, we're actually not actually on the course at that point, the women's group, but it's a great idea. And that is something, but the discounts and the honoring of women is something that is done in June and has been
Perfect.
very popular, and I think has been a real success for the last 2 years.
Yeah, and maybe it can just segue into, I was looking at some other leagues like in Waterford. They used, I think what they said is they use March as like a fundraising time because they're not really on the course. So they do other ways to fundraise for the women's club in March as an appreciation. So just a thought, doesn't have to
Thank you
go,
both
but
for your comments. I just want to jump in. I think one of the, and Margaret, this doesn't happen just in the last 2 years. You have been phenomenal in keeping the league and setting the pace for the league, and just, it was easy to step in. But one thing I'm really proud of, and I think that we should really kind of capitalize on that and let people know. And Todd, thank you. You made it easy for us to have a 9-hole option for not only our senior members, and I'm one of them, but also for any woman. So every week, by being able to sign up ahead of time on Slack, women, every member can choose whether they want to play 18 holes or 9 holes. And that has really kept some of our players that don't have the stamina to do the 18 to be playing. And Todd was fantastic in saying, well, we'll just start them at 10 o'clock so that we all can have lunch together. And that's, I think the social is even more important than the golf at times, particularly for many of those ladies who play in the 9 holes, to feel part of a league and to get the exercise. And it's just, I'm really proud of that. I think that it's a real team effort.
No, that's a great option for the gals that just can't do 18.
Excellent. Dan, did you have anything you wanted to add around the men's club, or Brad?
Just Todd and Eric, consider this your official invite. We just decided today we're having a meeting on Tuesday the 13th at 6 o'clock at Par 4, just to get a kickstart on getting together our suggested tournament schedule to you, any rule changes, stuff like that. So we'll be meeting at Par 4, just the men's club committee members. Again, Tuesday at 6 p.m. And just 2 other things that were brought to my attention. I don't think they're major ones. And Eric, you've probably heard them before. In fairness, I haven't been on the course in about a month. One is I've been told that bunker on the 6th fairway that's got the face of the wall that's basically all stone there is starting to get worse. And some of the men's club members are hopeful that something can be done to either dynamite that stone out of there or sod over it or something, just to put a little buffer between the slate or whatever that ground is. And the other thing that I had never heard before, but was told that on the 5th fairway, I guess on the left side of the 5th fairway, there's a French drain that's starting to come uncovered, and there's concern that it could collapse.
There's an underground, I don't know if it's an old farm drain or something, but you can see the low spot going in a straight line down the left-hand side of the fairway.
Okay.
So sometimes it gets holes in it. So anytime that happens, we fill in those holes.
Okay.
And I don't envision anything collapsing, but every now and then I walk that trench line. We find any holes, we make sure we fill them up.
All right.
And
I'll
the
let the guys know you're aware of the part of the course that they're talking about, that you keep an eye on it, and nothing to worry about as far as anything major.
Right. And then
that
the
should appease
bunker on
everybody.
6, I thought we were gonna be rebuilding that bunker this spring, but apparently we're not gonna be. So what I can do is bring some fill and just cover that ledge that comes out in that part of the bunker. We'll like
Okay.
make a little mini mound and just bury it, and the bunker will end there, so nobody will be in danger of hitting the ledge with a club.
Sounds about perfect to me.
So that'll be a little temporary fix until we get to that part of the course and redo the bunker.
Awesome.
If I could just ask, just make sure that's in the minutes, that way I can report that back to the council, because it's always good for them to know things that are deteriorating.
If I get a vote, my vote would be to redo that bunker as soon as it's in the budget to do so.
Yeah, I would definitely just notate out anything and all things. That way I can just be, I'm just going to be spitting off the words that you guys say.
Great, thank you. Perfect. Any additional comments from members of the board? All right. Thank you very much for that. So next on the agenda are our reports. The first one being the golf course report from December and January, I believe.
I don't have December in front of me, but I have January in front of me. The biggest part of this past month, as you can see, was that we had 22 course closure days, and that was the difference between this year and last year. If you look down to in the summary, the fiscal year to date, comparing to last year's record, by the way, fiscal year to date, we're still far beyond the pace that last year was. And also notably, the season passes, again, were fiscal year to date 87 compared to last year's 61. So we are just busy, despite the fact that we had bad weather this past month.
Yeah,
I'm
worst
looking-
story I can remember a long time, Todd. I feel like I haven't been at the course in a long time. Could have braved it out, I guess, a couple of these past days, but yeah, for the most part, we've been really unlucky with the weather on the weekends, so still pretty good numbers despite that.
No, you're right, Brad. Yeah, for sure. Yep.
Yeah, and I think December looked pretty about the same as the prior year in the end, actually a little bit ahead. I know you don't have it in front of you, but
Right.
it was like 61,000 this year versus 51,000 last year during December. But there were, in the total weather events, there were many more last year than there were this year.
Yes, right. Yep.
Okay. Excellent. Any other questions on the report? Sorry, Kat. All right, thank you very much, Todd. Next is sorry. Next is the marketing report.
So I don't have an official report other than to say that we're going to start gearing up the marketing as we move closer towards the golf course kind of traditional season, if you will, as we get closer to that traditional season. And certainly I've heard a couple of suggestions already this evening for something that we might be able to do in March. So I think that's something that Todd, Eric, and I can discuss in the coming weeks prior to March.
Okay.
And I suspect that we'll be offering the same discount that we have in the last 2 years for the month of June, which I think we've all seen has been very successful.
I think so too. We lost Portia for some reason.
No, I think it's a great idea.
Well, it's been very, very well received.
Yeah, I agree. For sure.
All right, that's okay. Next is status of goals and objectives.
Yeah, I don't think there's really been any substantial changes. You know, Eric continues to utilize best management practices. We continue to maintain a sound financial position and are always taking steps to improve player experience. And for those that have been out on the course in the last 2 weeks, we did replace the footbridge that everybody was concerned about.
Okay.
So there's a brand new footbridge over there. So
That's great. Going from 8
Yeah.
to 9.
It's been constructed, but it's not out yet.
oh, it isn't out yet. Oh, okay.
No,
I'm sorry. I thought it was out.
As wet as it's been, we can't get any machinery over
Ah.
there to carry it over. So once it firms up, then we'll get it out there.
Oh, Eric, I thought you were going to float it over.
We probably could have done that.
Yeah, right.
I'm curious, Eric, is this going to be constructed in a way that has, I don't know, a barrier to idiot proof it? Because it
Brad,
just,
you know very well you can take all the steps in the world to idiot proof something, but some idiot will just try to defy the odds.
I mean, a good example was what you guys did down by the 16th tee box, because, you know, just unbelievable that anybody would even attempt to drive a cart down there. But I know you have that spot there where you could put that pole in there to prevent.
Yeah, we're gonna put some stakes and some signs so we can try to deter some, let's say, impaired drivers from trying it out.
Yeah, Roger that.
Impaired is kind.
But then there's just dumb.
Yeah. But that's a walking bridge, is it not?
Yes,
That's
there.
the point.
If you look to the
Yeah.
left, like 30 feet, there's a cart bridge.
Yep. Actually, I'm sorry. Mark, one quick question I forgot to ask back under the new correspondence. You're right, the new logo looks absolutely awesome. Well sealed. I think it's going to last a long time. I do have a question about the fact that they replaced the carpet just around the logo, but left all the old carpet for the rest of the hallway there or the dining room there. And just kind of curious what the thought was there.
The carpet is the responsibility of par 4. And
So why wasn't par 4 asked to have a say in what was going to happen there? Because right now it's a patch.
yep. I'm not sure. That was a public works project, and I don't have an answer for you.
Peter said that he was going to be matching that that carpet and replacing the carpet to match what we've done.
I'm sorry, who's going to do that?
Par 4.
Peter, the owner.
You mean Michael?
Peter, No, Peter, the owner.
No, Michael
But-
is managing all of
Pete
that now.
Giannakopoulos.
I understand. But Michael is now managing the restaurant.
No, his dad is still the owner of of the Par 4.
Okay.
Yeah. And Michael and little Pete took over from Tony. But Peter is still the principal.
Okay. That's news. I mean, I've been working with Michael on something else as the manager of the restaurant, so we'll find
Well,
out.
I mean, he is. I mean, it's
I think this
he and his
conversation
dad.
is irrelevant to what we're.
It
supposed
is
to be doing
completely
here.
irrelevant, but I guess the point is, yes, it was a public works project. They came in, they put in the carpet tiles, which actually are very nice carpet tiles, but just kind of throws off the rest of the dining room there a little bit.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
Okay. And forces them into having to purchase now new carpet. to-
Well,
to-
I mean, Margaret, let's be honest. That
Oh, no,
carpet,
No,
that
it's
carpet
really-
should have been replaced a couple of years ago.
Oh, a long time ago. No.
Yes.
No, I'm fully aware. Fully aware, and working with them on getting some small business grants to get some of that work done, so. We are trying to help them out. All right. So nothing under unfinished business. For new business, we'll talk about the rates for this year. 2024. So we received 2 files with the proposed 5% increase. Right?
Yes.
So I don't know if you've received the sheet. I prepared a 5% increase on memberships,
Yes,
and then I prepared a 5% on everything.
right.
And the golf committee, which is Eric, Mark, and myself, think that we're fairly well positioned as far as our daily fees go. But totally agree that an increase is warranted for the season passes. So we can have discussion about that. I think that our daily fees are in a good spot. Last year, if you remember, we increased our cart fee prices. So it didn't reflect any increase beyond what we had done last year. So yes, so either do the season pass increase or season pass and daily fee increase 5%.
So with your budgeting for 2024, are you comfortable that you will be able to fully cover all of your expenses and still have money in the fund balance that can be used towards capital improvements on the golf course? Because we're now in a position where we're anticipating that any capital improvements on the golf course will need to be funded by the golf course. Just want to confirm.
We are sitting on a very large fund balance for the golf course. Thank you, COVID, by the way.
Margaret, the proposal that we put forward to the town manager and eventually the council and the RTM, we're not looking to fully fund all capital projects from fund balance. The proposal that was put forward was like 150,000 each year over the next 5 years. 150,000 would come from fund balance.
Okay,
And then the difference, and that varies year to year, would come from the general fund. That's our proposal.
okay,
That was the recommendation from the town manager. So, at this point, it's difficult to know what exactly is going to happen. The council, they could say they're comfortable with that, or no, they think that all future CIP should come from the fund balance. But the town manager is fully aware that the 750, or I'm sorry, I forget the number, 900,000 that we have is not going to cover all of the capital expenses that we've projected, over just the next 5 years. Yeah, so, he's trying to strike a balance so that we can continue to make improvements to the course, but also looking for the golf course to contribute a greater percent than they have in the past towards those improvements.
perfect. Yeah, just wanted to make sure that got out there.
And at this point, there are still unknowns in next year's budget. We sat down with the town manager today, and we're still waiting for information, retirement, post-employment benefits, health insurance. We still don't have all those answers.
Yep.
May
So
I ask, how much would that 5% proposal, how much additional income would that generate in 1 year? If that was, leave that with that, just as an if everything else, I guess, in addition to what the anticipation of what that 5% would bring in.
Well, that's hard to say.
Mhm.
I mean, in a zero-sum situation, then you could say that 5% would net 5%, but it doesn't work that way. 5% increase can dissuade some season pass holders to decide not to join. So there will likely be a greater attrition than the typical 10% that we see as a result of the 5% increase. But it will net to be greater than what we had in the previous year. So I don't know, maybe 4%, maybe 3.5% on season pass. But Marie, it's hard to say.
Sure, I understand that, Todd. I guess I was just maybe should have asked it differently. Are you looking at maybe like 25,000, 50,000? I mean, I just putting numbers out there guessing, but just what would.
Well,
Or if I do really rough math just off the Shenny Meds Club,
Mhm.
crowd, it's gonna be between 10 and 15 grand extra over the course of an annual membership.
Okay,
That's again, that's rough math, and that's just over men's club members, which is roughly 110 guys or so.
sure.
And
But
if
I
you
mean,
use the fiscal
totally-
year to date, yeah, I mean, at this point, we would be close to maybe around 40,000. I think extra.
I said 5%, then possible, just, and I don't have a calculator, but in front of me, but it might offset about a third of that 150,000 that we're expected now to contribute. This is kind of my crooked math, but
Yeah, I mean, Eric, you can correct me if I'm not remembering right, but typically, year on year, we're like $640,000 on season passes. So 5% would be 30 some odd thousand on that.
That's the greens fee number. I don't have my budget book in front of me. I want to say that season passes are like 360,000 or 375,000. So you know, each membership's going to be a different amount because there's all sorts of different categories. But I mean, your rough number would be like 5% of 350 is
Yeah.
off the top of my head guess right now.
okay.
Okay.
Thank you for that,
all
Eric.
right. Okay.
And is that amount of increase sufficient, you think? Whose cat? Your cat, Mark?
No, not
Oh
a
my
cat
God,
family.
no, that's my. Hold on, hold on. Hey! Hey!
Wow.
Sorry about that.
Did
We've
you
got
lose the
4
fight?
cats in the house.
That happens.
Somebody, hey. Oh my God.
Aren't you a professional
up my
cat sitter?
cat.
Come on.
I'm sorry. We've got 2 bigs and 2 littles.
Ah,
And the 2 littles sometimes don't get along. The little male and the little female sometimes, like right then, don't get along. So sorry.
that's all right.
Margaret, you can appreciate that.
Oh, yeah, no, you woke mine up. They all, their heads all popped up. No, I mean, so at 15,000 or some number like that, 15 to 20,000, is that, Mark, do you think gonna be? Well, I mean, it'll cover the increases in your expenses for the next fiscal year.
Right.
Or does it need to be more?
Well,
I don't think, I don't think that beyond 5% should be considered. This is my opinion, obviously. When we did the NGF study back in the early 2000s, they recommended that we just go in incremental increases to the tune of like 3%. If you increase 5%, well, that's okay. That's considerable. But if you go beyond that, then that's really, so then you have your membership say, whoa. I think if you want to amp up the cost of the membership, I think 5% is the upper limit that I think that you should consider. And if you want to go again next year, okay. But if you go beyond 5%, then I just don't think that, then quite a few members are going to think that's usury.
Margaret, I think for this year, anything, I think it would be prudent to stay at 5% this year. I
Okay.
do want to say that I have put into the budget to redo that same study that we did back in 2003.
Oh, excellent. Thank you.
So I think we could be having this discussion next year and have much better information.
Okay. Thank you. I mean, all I'm trying to do is make sure you guys don't fall short.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Oh,
and
no, we're
we,
not. We're not
we
going to.
certainly appreciate that and want to continue the pattern that we have
Yeah.
enjoyed over the last few years, which will hopefully allow us to continue to make bigger investments in the golf course. But for this year, I'm not sure that I would go above 5%. And if we have to eat into a little bit of our fund balance, then we'll just have to take that in and like I said, next year we'll be able to make much better decisions based on new information and not 30 or 25-year-old information.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Brad, Dan, thoughts? Speaking of cats.
I agree that I think 5% should be the upper limit.
Mhm.
Sounds
I
like a
agree
lot
with
to me,
that.
quite honestly, but
Yeah.
the world we live in right now too.
Right.
Yep.
The increase is necessary, but when you consider like the income demographics of the people in our club, a lot of them have been hit in the pocket pretty hard over the last few years with inflation, and everything has gone up, and it's a big deal to, I would say, members of the club. I don't want to see us pricing out a lower end demographic, so.
So does somebody want to make a motion on the floor or do you want me to try to do it? I'll do it. I'd like to make a motion.
Well, there are two parts to it. Are
I
you going
understand.
to move on to 5? Okay.
I'm gonna start with the membership passes. You want to have a quick discussion about, I mean, it sounds like the golf committee has no interest in raising the guest fees, though I think the course probably could, the demand for the course could probably tolerate it. But
I don't want to complicate things, but is there a way to keep the daily fee players the same through the summertime, but perhaps charge a premium for the off-season daily fees? Because it's about the only course that's open in the winter. So if people are coming to play in the winter time and they've got to pay an extra $10 to get out for a December round, well, they can suck it up and do it because it's the only place they can play.
not anymore.
Well, we're charging $60 to ride and $40 to walk. So we're not far from what we charge in August.
Yeah, I guess I thought it was cheaper
And
than
people are paying it.
that. Yeah.
Yep.
We're 60 and 40. That's what we do.
Just a thought.
Okay. So I'll make the proposal and then we'll have the discussion. But so the motion would be for the 2024 season pass rates, an increase of 5% for all membership categories that are currently identified in the table. And then for the daily fee rates, they would be left the same as they were in 2023 with no increase. Does anyone want to second that? And then we can have a discussion and make amendments from there.
What is the daily fee rate to walk in the middle of summer?
45 if you're a resident, 50 if you're not.
Or on the weekend, 50 if you're a guest, and 55 if you're
Yeah.
no.
Exactly, sorry.
It's basically
I'll
30.
I'll second the motion, Margaret.
Thank you.
It's somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 to 35 rounds to break even on your membership.
That's what we try to do, yes.
Yeah. With the added benefit of the various tournaments and such. I don't know. I'm selfish. I'd rather jack the rates on the daily fee players to save the course for the members, but that may just be too much of a biased perspective.
Well, you can take a
Right.
look at the rate comparison. I'm sure that you have that document that
Yeah.
that I created. We are a bargain as far as in comparison to our competitors, and so there's room there, and we have many members. We typically before COVID, we were at 210 members-ish. We're at 454. So we can go 5%. And remember, 5% is $50 on 1,000. We're not talking about $200 more. So I think it's appropriate. And we're still less than what our competitors are.
And I don't understand that because we are the premium course in the area. So why I mean, and I'm not proposing that we go above the 5% or anything. This is more of a long-term discussion. But why do we insist on being below everybody else?
Well, we were on a parity with Norwich and Elmridge. You can see that I have no data for Elmridge. Elmridge took down all their rate information. But I think it was 4 years ago, Elmridge just jacked up their member rates and their daily rates. So they went well beyond 5%. I think they went beyond 10%. And so we were even with our competition, and then I think it was 4 years ago, Elmridge just went boom. They just increased their rates considerably. And so no, we are the premier course in the area. There's no question.
So that's for the future.
So, but
We redo the survey.
Right.
The other thing though that
Yeah,
I'd
I
like
think-
to point out for Dan is that in 2018, 2017 and 2018, the membership rate was for residents, so local, I'm gonna go with that, was 1,600. And we put in a 10% cut in 2019. So what we would be doing this year with the 5% increase is returning to the rate that we had, the rates that we had in 2018. So net, over the last 5-6 years, I mean, there basically is no increase. If you compare year to year, yes, there's been an increase, but 5-6 years ago, 7 years ago, we were at this value rate anyway.
No, that makes sense. And the crazy number of 420 some members is out of this world. So if 5% makes that a more manageable number, I understand entirely.
Yeah, and
Although
then
I
the
would
folks the folks
I
that
would
you
just then go back to 40 and 60 for the winter time, make it 45 and 65. People are gonna come out and pay it anyway, take the extra cash, make a dent, or put a little bit more in the common fund or whatever it's called.
Mhm. And the people who don't want to pay the full membership rate can always pay the daily fee rate if it's not going up.
Yep.
Yeah, and no, Dan, we're not part of the general fund. We're a special enterprise fund. Whatever we charge stays with us, stays with the golf course. We're in essence a separate business.
All right.
So it goes to us.
5% for most of the daily fees, if you look at them, amounts to about $2.25. So, we would round it. So, we'd go from 45 to 47, from 50 to 52. I'm just 5% isn't all that much.
I trust Todd's judgment as far as where we stack up and compared to the competition on daily fee over the summertime. I just know it has gotten more difficult to find a spot on the wintertime golfing because that's about the only course that's open. So course is getting maxed out. The people that aren't members, let's make them pay a little bit more. That's my only comment there. But I understand the need of increasing the membership rate by 5%.
Yeah, and we would come back to where we were in 2018.
Yep.
Any other discussion? All right, so all those in favor of the motion for increasing the membership rates across the board at 5% and leaving the daily fee rates as they were in the last year, say aye.
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 Opposed? Nope. All right. Those will be the rates that we go forward with recommending. You okay with that, Mark?
Yeah, I just want to remind everybody that there's a joint meeting on Thursday night with the Parks and Rec Commission at 7 o'clock, and Lisa will be sending out a Zoom invitation. And we've done this for the last couple of years to try to avoid the situation where the GAB made one recommendation and the Parks and Rec Commission made another recommendation, and there really wasn't any dialogue between the two. So I think it's worked out well the last couple of years, because there was a few years where I had to go in front of the council and say, well, one group said one thing, one group said another. And I think it's best if we all get together and hopefully can iron out a unified position.
Yes, please attend, please.
Will a meeting invite be going out to us for
Yes,
that?
yes, it'll go out on Thursday. Thursday, 7 o'clock. It will be virtual, and we'll adjust the agenda so that the GAB is first.
Thank you.
Not gonna get the invite till the day of the meeting?
That's correct.
What
They
time
usually
is,
don't, 7 o'clock.
okay,
Okay, the next meeting date?
Oh, Margaret, the golf course regulations, I did send
Oh, yeah,
that.
yeah.
The only change that I noted was a change in the name of the holiday, which the town has adopted. But if there are other changes that need to be incorporated, that's also something that the council needs to approve.
Okay, I have no further comment. I just read through it real quick. Saw that. Actually, one question on the golf course hours. Will you be changing this year the hours of the pro shop? Especially in the summer when the sun doesn't go down to like 8:45. So you might be able to get some like greens fees collected up for 9 holes up until about 6:30 or 7.
Well, we don't have, well, I mean, we can certainly entertain that, but I mean, the reason why we close at 6 is because not too many people come out after 6. And we have staff on premise, until dusk.
Okay.
So, I mean,
No, it's just, it
we can look
says,
at that, but
yeah, so you might want to
I
take
mean,
a
there may
Mark,
be, there
you
may
may
be
wanna
like
look-
one or two people that come out after 6 o'clock.
then Mark,
Um,
section 5A, you may want to change that language to say that the golf course hours of operations are like 6:30 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Actually, it's 6 a.m.
Okay, 6 a.m. to
Spring
6
season,
p.m.
6 a.m. to 6 p.m. is what it is.
Yep.
That's what we do.
That would be my only suggestion. Saw that before. Gary, you have a question? Where are you? Your hand is raised. Gary? Gary, there you go.
So from a very early described by our music, in Boston in the 19th century, we wanted to train with
I'm sorry, Gary, you're inaudible.
Margaret, I'm not sure he can hear you.
Yeah, I don't think he can either. And I think that's somebody in his background.
Yeah, I'm not sure where that's coming from.
Okay. So perhaps we can follow up with Gary later. All right.
I think Gary-
Mark, can you mute him? Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks. All right. Anything else to discuss? Otherwise, we will close it.
Oops.
There's a second Gary Wells on. He's in two places.
I'd like to see if I can get a copy of the golf course report.
Yes, Gary, I'll send you the packet. I was not aware we had a new RTM rep until
Yeah.
you showed up tonight, so
Well,
I'll send you the packet.
I wasn't sure it was official until this evening myself.
Okay.
Clarence Casper sent me the last bunch of information about an hour before the meeting started.
Okay.
And on a small matter, our postman once complained that he used to have to break his neck to get to the golf course to pay for a round of golf because the pro shop would close precisely at a particular time. So much for that.
Closing at what time?
I don't know. It was a year or two ago. So I don't know if it's still an issue or not, but
Well, for the last 28 years, we've been 6 o'clock in the morning to 6 o'clock at night.
It's often closed by 5 o'clock. Especially in the winter.
In off season, yes, but not during season.
it's something he mentioned a
Yeah.
couple of years ago, so I wouldn't, I would check with him and I'll get on the post. I'll get my mail tomorrow at the post office. I can always ask him.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, in February or whatever, when it's 35, my guys don't stay until 6. They don't.
No, it's dark. I'll see what's now that I'm attending these meetings regularly, he'll start feeding me information and complaints and what about this and opinions.
Okay. Excellent. All right. Any other topics or are we ready to close?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Somebody want to second it? We're adjourned. I'll second it.
Thanks, Margaret.
You're welcome. Thank you guys very much.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
on
thanks,
Thursday.
everybody.
Good night.
I'll see you
Have a nice
Thursday
night,
night.
everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, good night.